Shelley and Shelley, it is so great to be talking with the two of you because Tier 1 Travel is one of the most respected retail groups in the travel industry in Canada and probably in the US too. And I have seen that myself at conference in how suppliers treat you and in speaking with some of your ICs. It is very, very palpable the way they feel about you. They feel that you are a solid organization, that you give them a lot of support. And certainly, as far as suppliers are concerned, it's obvious that you produce because they're not going to give you that kind of respect just because they like the way you smile, right? So clearly, you've got the goods, and we're here to talk today about why is it that some of the advisors who are listening to this, who may be thinking of a change, why should they consider you above some of your competitors? Shelley or Shelley, please take it away.
Well, we're really proud of Tier 1 and what we've built over the years, and just the quality of our consultants. It's not about the quantity, it's always about who our people are.
You call yourselves a boutique agency. What do you mean by boutique?
There's no waiting for somebody to get back to you. It's small, it's personal, it's responsive.
But it also means higher end in my mind, boutique, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Definitely luxury, yes.
You're not looking for the advisor who is selling mass market.
Everyone that's an independent has the opportunity to sell whatever they feel the most comfortable with and what they're the most passionate about. So we don't dictate what they want, but the luxury agents do gravitate to us, which is lovely.
Now let's hear from one of your advisors, because I think there's nothing better than actually hearing from the people who work with you.
Tier 1 is big enough to provide a great commission structure, but small enough to feel more like a family and not just like a number.
I read that the ratio that you offer of Tier 1 travel staff to the number of advisors is one of the highest in the industry. And I would imagine that that provides for a lot of support for those advisors. Tell me about that.
Oh, it certainly does. We have everything from marketing support, accounting support, IT support, just support at times when they need it. And I truly believe that our support staff is probably one of the best, and they truly care. We are all in this together. We all want to see our advisors succeed, and we will do anything we can in our power to help them succeed.
You know, I'm going to ask you a question, which is maybe a little bit from my perspective as a woman running an organization and listening to you. And I find that there is more of a fraternal, if you will, even though that means male, but sisterhood, whatever you want to call it, approach, like you said, caring. And I find that permeates the organization. And I think that it produces better business people, because there was a time when it was felt that, you know, if you don't have that sort of strong male kind of, you know, belt grabbing attitude towards business, you're not necessarily going to produce. But women entrepreneurs are highly successful and have a different approach.
I agree. I think that the empathy comes through from us, and you know, that caring spirit and nurturing and making sure that everybody is doing well, and it doesn't go for just the business. It's behind the scenes, what's going on in other people's lives, and making sure that we know and care and support.
Let's listen to another advisor talk about that.
I've been an independent consultant for 16 years with Tier 1 Travel, and their dedicated support has been extremely helpful with my business. They help streamline processes, the way they can offer competitive rates, allows me to provide exceptional service to my clients. I feel like I'm part of a family that genuinely cares about my success. They allow me to operate the business that I want while giving me full support.
Now, one of the things I heard, which is probably music to the ears of some of the people listening to us, is that there's an advisor I spoke with who said that her book of business is becoming too much for her to handle on her own. And she has hired a more junior advisor to help take on some of the excess work. And that must be amazing for someone who hasn't necessarily built up that level of luxury clients or even corporate clients, but can get into the business anyway. Talk to me about how that would work within Tier 1.
Yeah, and especially with agents looking at retiring in the next 4 or 5 years, they're also looking at where their business carries on and how it's nurtured, because it's all relationship building with their clients.
Yes.
So they want to make sure that the person joining them has got the same ethics, the same personality to a point, and services their clients in the way they're used to.
Yeah. Now, Tier 1 Travel has celebrated 30 years. Congratulations. Is this why you've chosen this particular moment in time to look at expanding?
Yeah, I think that again, there's a big gap between agents that have been in the industry for a lot of years and encouraging new people and new blood to get into this career, because it's not often looked at as a career that you can make money at, or a career that's long term. So we need to bridge that gap, and we need to bring people into the industry.
Now, stepping back for a moment, let's get into some ABCs about Tier 1 Travel. We mentioned luxury, we mentioned boutique, but I think you're a lot more than that.
Yeah, we actually have independent consultants that specialize in everything across the board, from wedding specialists to cruise specialists to adventure, you name it.
And corporate as well.
Yes, definitely corporate as well. There's several agents that are strictly corporate, and then there's other consultants that have small corporate accounts that sort of balance off their book of business.
So let's talk a little bit about what is the ideal candidate to become a Tier 1 Travel independent consultant. From what you've said, there are advisors who now are looking potentially to start thinking about retiring, and they have a lot of business, so they might want to have support in that area. But you're also looking for a variety of people who, service corporate, service cruise, service. So talk to me about the ideal candidate.
Well, a salaried consultant who's been in the industry for five years or so, they've already built up some sort of a clientele. And we found that although that's a scary thought for somebody that's on a salary to move to becoming independent, it's surprising how, your clients follow you. Kind of like a hairdresser, you've got a good hairdresser in the city, you'll move if they move. So it's having confidence in yourself, knowing that the relationship that you've built with your clients. So those type of consultants could look at making a change to becoming independent. And there's a graduated piece that we can put in place there, so that it's not too scary. And we're starting to look at new people that haven't been in the industry too. So there's lots of opportunities.
And commission structure is, I presume, interesting. I know you don't want to give details.
The consultants make more money than I do, actually. Yeah. So it's a very lucrative business to be in, if you know what you're doing and you're good at it and you're passionate, because really to build a career on something that you love doing,
right,
it truly shines.
And that's what came through a lot too with some of the advisors that I spoke with. So let's listen to another one.
The thing that I enjoy the most is that we have complete independence. We can call our own hours. We can work whenever we want or as little as we want. We all belong to a team. We have people that can help us. So we're always kind of looking out for each other that way. We work on a tier level commission wise. So the more commissions that you make a month, the better the commission split is, if you know what I mean. So it's definitely a win-win for everybody. And that's one of the things I love about working at Tier 1.
Before we close out, I wanted to ask you, Tier 1 Travel, when you came up with that organization and you came up with the name, you decided to be a host agency probably way before anybody had even heard of the term. So, Shelley, what made you do that? Where does that come from?
That came way back in the 80s, and or was it 94? 1994. And it was one of my partners, his wife at the time was an independent agent, and she was working in an office with salaried agents, and it just didn't work very well. So the idea of doing something where you support all independent agents, only independent agents, and there isn't any, well, they can come and go as they please, and all the rules are different for an independent. So that's where that concept came from, way back then.
Fascinating. If only you knew everything that the travel industry was going to go through. And yet your advisors are doing better than ever. They told me they're making more money than ever. So, I mean, this is amazing news, not just for you and your advisors, but I think for the industry as a whole. Tell me how you see the industry moving. Where do you see the role of the advisor?
I think it's just so paramount these days because of all the things going on in the world. People traveling need someone that has their back. They need somebody that is an expert that's taking care of them. And I think the independent agent is the one that's going to profit from that, or do the best, because they're so invested in their clients and they're like a personal concierge.
Yes, indeed, a personal concierge. Don't we all need one of those? Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time and for talking to me about Tier 1 Travel. I find it fascinating to listen to the history and the vision, because goodness, it is a difficult job what you do, catering. Well, in your case, your clients are the advisors, which are probably much easier than some of the clients that they have to deal with. But nonetheless, you're there to support them, and congratulations.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.